we'll get started here in just a second.
Cool.
All right. So your people hit me up because before you were on Big Shrimp Radio, which is the sister podcast to me on Hodgepodge Productions, and Big Shrimp couldn't do it, and so your people came to me. They're like, "Hey, would you like to do it?" I was like, "Sure." So thanks for skipping out on Big Shrimp and coming over to me.
Of course. I heard he's sick or something.
uh, yeah, he has. He's in the hospital or nursing home right now. So he has this nerve disease or something, and so he's in and out of the hospital usually a couple
That's fine.
times a year maybe. Yeah. So I want to get you on because your new single X on the Beach
Yeah.
is out now. So talk
Correct.
about that real quick because I just played it before we actually started recording.
Yeah, so it came out on Friday, and I'm really excited. We recorded it back in December. I actually just released a behind the scenes video from the studio today. And it's been cool. I feel like it's gotten good responses so far from people. And it's just a fun summer song, kind of loosely, very loosely based on my own life. I went through a breakup about a year ago, and I knew I was going to be seeing the guy at a songwriters festival in Florida a couple weeks later, and that would probably be the first time I saw him. And so I was just kind of like, well, what if he was already with someone else? Like, what would that be like? And so it kind of just became this what if song.
And so going back real quick before we actually jump into the podcast, you wrote it kind of in an imaginary way, I guess you could say, and that kind of goes back to your childhood because your mom wrote poems. That's because like down the line, one of your great great grandfathers was Charles Dickens.
Correct. Yes. So that's a lot of people in my family have been creative. And my mom
Mm.
just, when she can't sleep at night, she gets up and just starts writing different poems and or rewriting like famous ones too. Sometimes she'll do that. She did before I went to college. She rewrote "Twas the Night Before Christmas" to "Twas the Night Before College" and made this like
Okay.
did the whole thing and just like read it to me at like dinner the night before, and it was really sweet just to see her like creative process and stuff.
So when did you realize you had the bug to write? Not necessarily music, or did you always want to write music and not just stories or poems?
I don't think I really thought that I didn't realize I could like write my own songs. Like I didn't put that together until later, but ever since I was a
Mhm.
kid, I was writing something. And so I did poetry contests when I was in like first and second grade. And I found that one of them the other day that like won a contest, but it's hilarious because it's so bad. I was like, how did this happen? It was like I think it was called School is Cool. um, it was very elementary, but I was in elementary school, so
Right.
fits the time. But I've always written and journaled and processed things, and I kind of go through spurts of it where sometimes I'm like journaling every day, sometimes I just don't for a few months, and so it's kind of just on and off. But I've always been drawn to writing out things and processing that way. And if I'm not able to, then I verbally process. I just have to like get it out and figure out how I'm feeling about something and just kind of go around the whole situation. So songwriting really helps me do that too.
So it's more or less a stress reliever on some points.
It is, yes. Even though sometimes I'll say sometimes writes can be stressful if you like know what you're trying to say and you can't figure out how to say it. So, but sometimes those can be the best ones too, because you feel like when you finally get it, it's like we did it. Like, okay, we figured it out. So
Was it hard to, because you said you were in a relationship and you just, imagine that he was with someone else. So was it hard to write the song X on the Beach or was it somewhat therapy?
I think it was kind of therapeutic. It was we took a like funny twist on it instead of making it a sad like poor me. We were like, you know what? This festival in general, people are known for drinking a lot at it, and so we're like, well, what would you do? It's like if you were at the bar and saw him, like I'd probably be like, I need another one, and so we just kind of hyperbolized it. a bit. I have to tell my mom, I'm like, I didn't, like, first of all, this didn't happen. And second of all, I wouldn't have 7 drinks in a row. Like, I'm a lightweight. Like, that wouldn't
Right.
happen. And that's not really my style, but I mean, it's been fun to learn how to make the drinks to kind of support the song. And just, it seems like people are really liking it and gravitating towards it, especially for the summer now that it's finally getting warm and we're able to get out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Is like I was seeing someone like 3 or 4 weeks ago posting, I got a summer song that's coming out today, and I'm like, why are you putting out today? You can't do anything. No sense in having a summer song. You can't do anything. It's just one of those. But now, yeah, it's the rules are kind of firmly going away a little bit, and you can actually go to the beaches now, which I'm not going to, but you can do what you want, but yeah, I think right around now to the next couple of weeks would be the great go-to thing for the
Right.
Corona as well.
You have to pick when you're going to release it. You pick that and way in advance.
Right.
And so, at least a month in advance, like the minimum. And so you just don't know. I didn't know what things were going to look like now. I mean, a month ago, I was like, are we still all going to be in quarantine? Or is it going to be loosening up? Like, I don't know, but I just had to kind of go for it and hope for the best and figured that even if we all were stuck completely inside still, then at least it would give you a summer state of mind. So.
Now, obviously, like you said, I get deep into the music thing here. So you do pick songs, months or release dates months at a time. So what would you do if they were like, would you personally pull your song because of the Corona? If this was still a top 10 thing, instead of it going down.
You mean like would I not have released it or?
Right, like you see people, they're like putting their album release dates or singles to a later date because of the COVID-19 thing. So would you do that as well?
I don't think I would necessarily completely delay it. Like if I'd already announced the date and I already picked, like, gone ahead. But I will say it has changed my plans a little bit. I had planned to put out a song in June, and I kind of just decided that one needed to wait a little bit. So we kind of moved dates around, but this was when this all started. So we were able to push it until that one's going to be coming out later in the year and closer to fall. So I'm glad that we wanted to be, I mean, aware of the situation and cognizant of that and making decisions. But at the same time, music has to go on. And I think that's one thing that also has been encouraging because people are turning towards music right now. Like in this time, we have a lot more time to listen to it. And I know personally, like I've been streaming stuff way more while I've been at home and haven't had the chance to go to shows and see people live. So I just stream their stuff instead. So.
Well, that's weird for me because I haven't been really streaming music that much. It's mostly been podcasts because I usually just listen to music if I'm on the road or if I'm doing something. But everything in the house is done one day a week. You don't have to do anything. You just lay around all day. So do you find yourself listening to music more or talk radio or books on tape or audibles?
So I've only recently gotten into podcasts because before, I guess for most of my life since podcasts have been a thing, for most of that time, I've like, I don't know why, but they have tended to put me to sleep. And I'm literally, it could be a murder podcast that's like the most engaging thing. And I tried, like, I had a road trip back to Nashville from California, and I was in the car for, I mean, so long. It was 2,000 miles. So I had lots of hours to kill in the car, and everyone's like, oh, listen to this podcast. I'm like, this is the perfect time for me to do that. And I kid you not, it could be 7 a.m., 7 p.m., noon, and no matter what time of day, it would always start to put me to sleep. And so I think I just associated it with that. I think especially video podcasts have been cool because I like seeing people's reaction. I like to, I don't know, I think that helps. But I've listened, a couple of my friends have started podcasts actually during quarantine, and that's been fun. I think that's gotten me a little bit more used to it because I know them and I'm like more invested in them and want to hear what their stories are. And on top of that, my roommate listens to the Bobby Bones show a lot, and she listens to it like every day.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
we've been
Right.
spending a lot of time together, and a lot of times, especially earlier, it's been kind of rainy here lately, but we would tan in the yard like that. What else are we gonna do? So we would tan in the yard, and she would put on the Bobby Bones show, and so
Yeah.
gotten more used to that. And I don't have it, I'm not listening to it myself. I'm listening to it with her, but I've actually gotten to
Right.
enjoy it. And I think that's helped me kind of branch out. But in general, I think I've been listening to everything way more, as well as like Netflix.
So yeah, you mentioned Bobby Bones. That's one of the main reasons I'm doing this podcast. He's a big hero of mine, and yeah, it's weird because I'm just so OCD that it's like I'm so have such this big schedule, and it's like if it's not up by this time, I'm starting to freak out. Just because it's my OCD kicking in. It's like because I do everything once that's on. I do my cleaning, et cetera, et cetera. So what is something that or music pocket, whatever you want to talk, or what is the one thing that you just like that has to be this while I'm doing this? Is there something like that?
Hmm.
Like
That's
I
like a
always have my TV on in the background, even though I'm listening to something, on my phone. It's one of those weird things that I have.
right. Um, hmm. That's a good question because there's certain times, as much as I love music, sometimes I can't listen to certain kinds of music when I'm
Right.
working or something. If it's music that I really
Right.
like, I get distracted and then I don't get work done because then I'm just wanting to sing along and like
Okay.
chill. Because I feel like when I'm driving, I have to listen to music. So that's like one time where
Oh,
I have to, like, it's just my time in the car, whether it's listening to like new demos I just got back or listening to friend songs or listening to the radio. I like have to be listening to it. My mom is like not like that. She'll drive for an hour and a half and not put the radio on once. And I'm like, what? It's so silent. Like I can't do it. But I'd say that's like when I'm always listening to something. And I love to just, especially during this time, I've taken a few just drives like nowhere. And I haven't done this in years where I just don't even have my GPS on and I'm horrible at directions. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me get lost. Like, I don't care. I have nowhere to be. And so it's been kind of fun to do that and just like listen to stuff and get caught down a rabbit trail. And at the end, I'm like, okay, let me turn my GPS on to get home. But, but I don't care if it's taken me, I mean, 45 minutes in one direction. Like, um, other than that, though, I listen to TV a lot before bed, for better or worse. I'm sure that's a bad habit, but um, I like to do that.
no,
Like,
that's how. We,
yeah, I'm sure it's not good for like screen time before sleeping, but I don't know. I've gotten really into the show Blacklist, and so it's
okay.
very like it's all about this FBI agent trying to like solve these high profile cases, and so it's very stimulating, which is probably really not good. My therapist says actually like you should watch something more chill before bed because I start to have these weird Corin dreams where I'm like think I'm like an FBI agent and solving all of the problems. And I mean, I haven't solved anything to be honest. I wake up, I'm like, I think I did something really important, but I don't remember. Probably solved like
That was
global warming in my sleep.
that was my problem with Ozark. I watched the first season probably I think when it first came out or a little after, and man, it just put me in this bad mood, and it would just make me have these bad dreams just because it was so dark, and I'm not used to watching something like that. But I was like, it's a great show. I just fell off the wagon after that because I was like, I can't go back to that. A lot
Right.
of people don't experience it, but me, I experienced it a whole lot, and it was rough for me. So I
Right. I
understand
totally
that
get
100.
that. I haven't seen Ozark. I've heard it's really good though. I think I would like it. My roommate has seen it and she told me I would love it. But I started watching, it's like I used to always, if I watched a scary movie or something before bed, I'd have to watch an episode of Friends as that was like my
Okay.
chill, like you can't have a nightmare after Friends. Like
Right,
I was like, you
right.
know what, this will just calm me down. It'll be funny, lighthearted. And now I started watching Magic for Humans, and that's become my like lighthearted show. It's like very entertaining, and I don't know how he does it, but it's just like very chill, very lighthearted, and like mesmerizing, and then I can just crash and I'm fine. And the episodes aren't like a plot. It's just like, so I can watch 5 minutes, I can watch 30 minutes, and it doesn't matter. So
I'm on this Hell's Kitchen kick for some reason. I was just flipping through the channel to watch and Hulu. It was like Hell's Kitchen. I'm a big fan of Gordon Ramsay, so I was like, why not? And apparently season 10 is the best season he had. So I started there, and then you just grow with these people, and you just like can't wait. You want to see this person go, but you're like can't see that person go, And yeah, I just been this really all I've been watching that, and like Rick and Morty and a couple of documentaries and stuff like that.
yeah, I watched Hell's Kitchen for a while, actually. A few years ago, I was into it for a bit. I was on a kick, and I went to college out in LA, and I would study at Starbucks for, like I said, I don't like to listen to like music if I'm studying or working, but I like the white noise of Starbucks. One, you have caffeine right there at your disposal, and two, you have like that distracting noise that it's not distracting. It's like it just blocks out everything, and so.
Right.
And I don't like the silence of the library. It's too silent. So I really loved that. But every day when I was studying for finals, I would see, because I went to school out in LA and there's just a lot of like celebrities. So every day I ended up seeing for like 5 days straight a celebrity at Starbucks. And one day was Gordon Ramsay, actually. And I flipped out. I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh. And he was so nice.
Really?
Yeah, he was really great. This is funny. I just had a feeling. I was like, I'm going to see someone today. So I was such a dork. I brought a Polaroid to the Starbucks, just assuming I was going to see someone. And I saw him, and I knew my sister loved him too. And so I got a like Polaroid picture with him and sent it to her in the mail. And he was really cool about it. I try not to fangirl, but also I feel like if someone's at like Starbucks, you're kind of like, I don't know. I guess everyone does have the right to be like
You're out there.
And
I'm with that 100%. Like, I don't want to be bothered. But then it's kind of the aspect of looking at, I understand that, but you also signed up to be bothered. In that sense, like, I'm not saying that as a jerk move, but I'm just like, you wanted to be the biggest thing in TV or in movies, but then you get bugged at someone because they shake your hand. They're the reason you're there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
no, and I think there's ways to do it and ways not to do it. So, for example, he was like walking out of Starbucks when I was walking in, like we were passing. We were both just casually, wasn't a hurry, like we were both just chilling. That felt appropriate to me. If someone's sitting down at a nice dinner, I'm not going to like walk up and interrupt their dinner. Like that's just a different situation.
Right.
But I just also think of like whenever I have the opportunity to meet, and I'm not anywhere near their level, but if I ever have the opportunity to meet someone that's like a fan of my music or anything, if I've played a show and then I see someone in the same town later on and they're like, oh, you played earlier, like, and they come up and say something, I'm just like, that's so cool, like that you want to say hi, like, please, thank you so much for like coming up. Yeah. I never have felt put out, and I guess I'm very like outgoing, bubbly, so like I don't mind that. I'm more extroverted, but I guess if someone is more introverted, they might, and shy, like they might not like that interaction, but I guess you just never know. So I think it's just a situation by situation thing. There's not really like a set like rule. I don't think you should like never talk to someone, but I don't think you should always just interrupt them either.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me that you said Gordon Ramsay was a nice guy. I just think his character on TV is just to be this selfish jerk prick, that no one likes. I think that's just his character, and that's what made him who he was. So, what was who else have you seen?
Let's see.
Like you got a couple of others you just throw out there. I'm just curious.
I've seen Michael Bublé. I saw him at Disneyland.
Okay.
He was behind me in line. He was really cool. I've seen Pierce Brosnan also at Starbucks. I saw Chandler from Friends.
Wow, really? Did he look as bad as he looks now?
What'd you say?
Did Chandler from Friends, Matthew Perry, does he look as bad as he does now?
He's aged, but
he just looked.
He's aged, yeah. But I think it was that one. I think I was freaking out the most about because the year prior I had watched like all 10 seasons, I think, of Friends in a row. And so it was very fresh. Like I'd always like seen it here and there, but I had like sat down and just watched all of it. And so huge fan of him, of his character. Don't know him personally, but I was just like freaking out a little bit. And seeing him, I have never been such a fangirl. Like I probably made a fool of myself. I was just shaking, like freaking out. Like I felt like, I mean, it was the coolest thing. I probably only would have freaked out more if Jennifer Aniston was there, because I love her too.
Yeah, I think the reason they look older to, or like we look at them like, wow, that's what they love that, because they're always on TV and we're always seeing them in their prime. We're always seeing them in their 20s and 30s, and then once you see them in their 50s or 60s, you're just like, what am I looking at? You know?
Right.
But the most important question we're going to cover here on the podcast, you mentioned Friends, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Yes.
Were Ross and Rachel on a break in your mind?
You know, I'm gonna say no. Well, okay.
Really?
I'm gonna say they were on a break, but it didn't excuse what he did. Like if he did that, that in my head, I don't think they should get back together. Like I think that was like a break should be not a break to get with someone else, but to like take space from each other and like evaluate it. And then before getting back together and before moving on to someone else, I think that's when you have a talk and decide, are we like pause? Was this a pause? Are we getting back together, or are we parting ways? And I don't think they hadn't had that discussion. I just think he handled it very poorly, because then he like didn't really admit to it for a bit, and like he should have been honest from the get-go, and clearly that backfired. But I don't know. I really wanted them to like, I really wish that hadn't happened, and I'm sure he did too.
Well, I look at it the same way. Like I think they were on a break, in my opinion.
Right.
Just because she was like, let's take a break. That tells you right there they were on it. Do I think he should have done what he done? No. But what the argument was between Ross and Rachel was, we were on a break. No, we weren't. That was the whole, it was the whole argument. We were not on a break. Yes, we were. You did say it. No, I didn't. Yes, then he had to read like the 300-page document to get back together. It was just those things to keep the show going, I think.
Right. No, I see that. And I think, yes, I think they were on a break. I don't think that's acceptable behavior on a break. I don't know. I've never been on a break with someone. I feel like I'm too cut and dry. It's like, either we're like figuring this out or we're not. And I don't get the break thing. I've also just not gotten back together with someone. I feel like if you break up, it's usually for a reason, unless, I don't know, unless for a good reason, I guess. But I haven't had any situations where that reason has like gone away and it made sense to get back together. But I don't know. The 200-page or 300-page, however many pages, that was a little intense.
I don't even know.
They both handled it. They were good and bad, but at the end of the day, they're our favorite couple to like love and root for, even though we know the end.
They both handle it immaturely. But I was going to ask you, obviously we're both big fans of Friends. What do you think about this Friends reunion that Ellen is supposedly hosting on the new HBO platform?
Is it like a full-on, is it like they're bringing everyone back, or is it like a show, like the actual show? Do you know?
Okay, here's what it is, and I'm very disappointed. They are bringing all the actors back together just to do an interview of what's been going on in their lives since Friends has been over with. In my personal opinion, I don't care to hear that. Now, if they were going in and sitting down as characters and being like, oh, well, I want to know what's up with Monica and Chandler's kids. I want to know, did Joey's acting career launch off? How is Phoebe and Mike doing? That's what I want to know, but they're not going to give it to us because they know that there's not going to be any satisfying ending to anyone.
Right. No, that makes sense. I mean, I would probably watch just because I would be curious, but
I mean, I will too.
Yeah, but
But
I think I would be more interested to see like where are they now kind of thing. I feel like they're doing that with a lot of shows though. Like I don't know the details, but I know I grew up watching Hannah Montana, and
right.
they are bringing that back, but without Miley Cyrus. And I don't know if any of the other characters are back, but I was just like, but what is Hannah Montana without Miley? That's like the show that broke her. You know, that was like people now just know her for her pop stuff, but that's I mean, we grew up you have to appreciate Hannah Montana to appreciate her where she is now, you know? It's a whole evolution.
It's very, I was kind of say, odd or weird that we know her from Hannah Montana, and like, I picture my cousin. She's like almost 6 or something like that. She doesn't even know. She knows that song "Wrecking Ball." I'm just like, she used to be a Disney star. Like you watch. Then she did it, and you just like. But it's amazing to me how fast time goes by and the generations change. That's
Right.
very fascinating and very shocking to me, because it's like now she has this thing, the Alexa, and she's like, "Alexa, turn on the lights." Obviously, she knows how to turn on the lights, but she's not going to, because she doesn't have to. And I'm just like, I don't have one in my house just for that reason. I don't
Right.
want to be considered lazy for myself.
Right. I mean, I definitely use, I'm not gonna lie, I use Alexa for things. I hope she's not gonna talk to me. Um, I ask her the weather every day, and usually she's really
Mhm.
nice about it, and she'll like tell me to have a great day or enjoy the sunshine. I'm like, that's so kind, especially during quarantine when I see like just her and my roommate. So, um, no, I don't. I actually, you'll be proud of this. I got a smart plug for Christmas that like you can plug in, and I guess you could. I think that's what you do with the lights, or you can plug in different appliances to it. And it's been sitting in its package since Christmas, and I was like, honestly, I don't need this. Like, I can turn on the lights. I don't know. So I actually got it out yesterday. I was like, I need to return this, and I don't know, or gift re-gift it or something, because I'm like, I really don't need to be using this. I need to be using like my brain.
No, I understand 100%. But real quick, take me back, because you grew up in Brentwood, Tennessee, and what's kind of cool to me is you're like of was it Western European descent, something like that?
Yes. I think I did like one of those 23andMe or whatever things.
Okay.
I know I have a lot of European descent. I have a lot of English. Um, I know because I know on my mom's side we like can trace it back to like Charles Dickens. My dad's side came over on the Mayflower, so definitely have that like background. My stepdad always says though that I have like an ambiguous face. He's like, you can look like totally different ancestries, I guess, like ethnicities, depending on the situation, or like how you style your hair, or how you like do your makeup or something, or how you dress. Because, and I will say that's kind of happened because I studied abroad, and when we were in Turkey, um, I walked in, we were going through like the shops there, and I didn't say anything, so they couldn't hear that I was speaking English. And they didn't bother me at all. Like they weren't saying anything to me. And anyone else, when you walk into the shops, they're very like they kind of attack you, not in a mean way. It's just their culture of like, can I help you? What do you want? What do you like? Let me sell you this. Let me sell you that. And they weren't doing that to me. And I was kind of shocked. And then one of my friends walked in and started talking to me, and they were like, oh, because they thought that I looked like Turkish. They thought I was like a local. And that was crazy. I was like, this is so strange. Um, so I don't know. I think it could go, you never really know. Like those tests, it said I was like mostly European. I'm like, but where in Europe? Like that's a lot of countries, you know?
Yeah. So what's one question that you're just tired of answering? Like, is there just one question you get you just like, "Oh, I gotta answer this again. Here we go," and you basically have it memorized.
um, hmm. I guess a question I get a lot is what what brought me to Nashville. But I think that's a question that's important. Like if you're just getting to know me, that's important. It's not really annoying at this point because I do feel like not many people here are natives. And so that's like a unique spin on it. But I do think I get that question pretty much any kind of interview. Um, as well as like, I think it's common to be asked like, oh, what's it like um, as a woman in country, or what's it like, are you worried about like your age or anything, which I know I'm not at all old, but there's just questions that about like material or not material, but like things that I can't change, and that I've never known life without. Like I can't change my heritage. I can't change that I'm a woman. I can't change how old I am. Um, and so I don't really know what it's like compared to anything else, you know? But yeah, I feel like those are the questions I get a lot. I'm trying to think what else. Honestly, I haven't really gotten questions that are like annoying at this point. And I'm grateful for that. I guess time can change that, but it's cool because I think people put their different spins on things, or are more or less interested in different aspects of artists and writers, and our background, or what we're looking forward to doing, or our hobbies, or anything like that.
What's one question that you always hope that one interviewer will ask and they never ask it, that you always want to talk about?
Oh, that's hard. Um, that's these are good
Or
questions.
just
Like,
give me a couple if you ask.
oh, oh, I mean that's hard. I haven't thought about that, to be honest.
That's the point.
I
We try to get you into
stumping
the
me.
mindset.
You're stumping me. I mean, so for me, one thing that I guess people don't know to ask, because they wouldn't expect that, that I think is a cool part of, or it's just a part of my story that's important and has made me who I am. But um, Daniels isn't actually my it wasn't my like born last name. I legally changed it about a year ago now, because my biological father just isn't a very nice man, and I wanted to honor my stepdad, and his name is Daniel, and so I took Daniel's to. It was just something that I really felt compelled to do, both from a professional standpoint as well as like legally. I went to the courthouse and had the chance to do that last year, and it was just very empowering. And people don't like realize, like, I guess what how important a name can be, and the different meanings it can hold for someone. And for me, like, I didn't want to put music out under my former last name because I didn't want to be attached to that, and I really just wanted to honor and reframe that name for me, and like reclaim it, I guess, and be able to move forward with something that I was proud of, and that felt like a bigger part of me and made me who I was and who I am. So I think that's something that people don't really know. I mean, I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but now that it's like, if people are just now getting to know me, they would just assume that that's my name, or if it was just a stage name or something. But it's just been a really important, I think, thing that's happened since I moved back. And I had always kind of wanted to change it, but I didn't really know what to, and I didn't want to just change it on a whim. And so the closer I got to my stepdad, the more it made sense. I was like, I'm not just going to pick a random name. Like, this is like what it needs to be. So that's something that like I don't typically get to talk about, I guess.
Well, you talk about it here. So thanks for that insight. That was very informative and interesting.
Thank you.
So you mentioned stage names. What do you think in your mind is one of the greatest stage names someone has ever come up with that they use? Either it be an actor or a singer or whoever.
Wow, these are great questions. I would say the greatest stage name. I always like when it's like one name. They're just like that cool that they don't even need a last name. So
Like Eminem.
I was thinking like Adele or
Okay.
like Adele or clearly like Beyonce like changed, like she originally wasn't just Beyonce, but I think Adele, like that's cool. Or trying to think of
Right.
other names now. I just think it's cool when someone can like they can just be known as that. Clearly with a name like Emily, I can't do that. There's a lot of Emilys out there.
Right.
I feel like you have to kind of have been born with a name that's more unique, or take it on as your own. But I'm trying to think of other people that have done that. Oh, I've got one for you. Best stage name for a writer, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, but his last name is Seuss, isn't it?
No, that's not his
It's
name.
not. Okay.
No, I forget.
I didn't
To be
know
honest,
that.
I forget what his actual name is because it's forgettable a little bit for me. But
That's
I
why.
think
That's why he changed it.
I know. He just made it up, but I think he did it just to be to add to the character. But I think that was cool. I'm trying to think though. I don't know. Sometimes their stage names are so good that you forget their actual names. Lady Gaga is a pretty sweet name. I'm not gonna lie. I think that one's pretty
Do you
cool.
know how she
Her.
Did you know
What?
how Lady Gaga got the name?
She what?
Do you know how Lady Gaga got her name, Lady Gaga?
I might have heard it, but I don't remember. So please tell me if you know the story.
Yeah. Queen has a song called Radio Gaga, and she was listening to it one day, and that was her favorite Queen song. And someone was, I think this is how the story went. I knew it had Radio Gaga in it, and they're just like, why don't you go by Gaga? And then she said, well, why don't you just put Lady and Lady Gaga? And, like Freddie Mercury for Queen. And kind of really unnecessary information for me to know, but that's what I do in my spare time.
I like it. It's a fun fact. I love that.
For me, I like the stage name Vin Diesel. I just think, how do you come up with Vin and a last name Diesel? Like, it's one of those things like, or like Ice Cube. I think that's a pretty cool.
Sometimes they're so crazy, but they work. Like, but then I don't know how they come up with that, and we're like decided, because I'm sure at first it was like you must laugh at it and be like all of a sudden. I just think like if I came to my mom and was like, Mom, I'm now gonna be Lady Gaga, she'd be like, no, you're not. Like, but you have to have like the right attitude and the right like personality and character for that. And I applaud them. I mean, I think that's really cool. And I think it helps too to like kind of separate from personal and like professional lives, which can be hard sometimes.
Right. And then because I get into this Wikipedia research phase. Like if I'm watching something that's supposed to be like historically based, I'm always going to go back, or if it's like a biopic, I'm going to pick that movie show apart. And that's just and once I see like, oh, Kevin James' real name isn't Kevin James. Okay, that's very interesting to me. I wonder why he changed it. And then I'll just go down this big rabbit hole and do unnecessary research for like an hour and a half just to come up with 2 paragraphs.
No, but I like their stories, so they paid off.
Real quick, we're going to talk about this thing real quick, and I'm going to get to something else. So correct me if I get this story wrong.
Okay.
So you went to a taping of America's Got Talent. During the commercials, they had an MC that was just out there killing time. So the judges got there. He asked if anyone wanted to sing. You raised your hand. He calls you up, and as you're singing, Simon Cowell is returning to the judges' table, and it's like, wow, that's good. You should be up here. Is that somewhat correct, accurate?
Yes, it is. That happened a few years ago and was crazy. It still feels like a dream. Like it doesn't feel like that was real because my whole life I had grown up like watching American Idol. And had always, that was someone kind of like Gordon Ramsay, I feel like, that gets a bad rap for being like harsh, but I think both of them do it. Like, one, I think it's a little bit of a character I think they have to put on for TV, but also I think both of them like actually mean well, and the point of their criticism is to be constructive most of the time, and is to help you grow and like give you the honest truth. And sometimes there's people on the show that they simply put on for entertainment purposes that aren't very good. And I feel like Simon and Gordon are the people that have to like be the ones to tell them that, which someone else should have told them a while ago. But I don't know. I've just always had wanted to sing in front of Simon because I felt like he tells it how it is. He's knowledgeable. He's clearly like made a few stars here and there, you know? And so I was like, you know, that's someone that I really value him, like his opinion, and I really admire him, and would love to like get his honest feedback one day. And that was just something that had always been in the back of my head. And I assumed the only way that would happen would be if I was on American Idol or something. But this was just such a random, cool opportunity that came up like out of the blue. Could never have guessed that it would, like, I couldn't have planned for it. And that's the crazy thing. And I felt like, honestly, I felt like it was like a God thing and just kind of affirmation, because I had only a couple weeks before that decided that I was moving back to Nashville from LA and to pursue music. And I was really nervous about it and was just questioning a lot of things. And then for that to happen, it just really affirmed that decision and felt like God was just like, you're doing the right thing. Like, just keep going. And like, you don't have to know it all right now. And I still don't know it all, or nearly, I mean, not close to it. But I think that was, little moments like that have just been very affirming. And I hold on to those of like, I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't think I could have made that happen if I had wanted to, you know?
If that was me and that would have happened to me with Simon Cowell, I would have made a whole different scenario up of what happened. Here's what I would have said. He was so ticked. He was mad. He threw his notebook down on the floor. I don't want to do this anymore. There's no one good here. Walked backstage. He heard me singing. He floated on a cloud up and was like, you are just what we're looking for. You're coming back next year. And he just didn't go back. That would have been my story.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Because Lord knows I would have been like, well, this story's all right. But what if I could have made it a little bit?
Well, you can tell you can tell my story like that.
All right. So I do this thing on here, which is called fast question, fast answer.
Oh no.
And it's just questions that pop in my head. As soon as something pops in your head, just answer it, no matter what it is. Favorite movie of all time?
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Okay, I'm going to stop here because I just watched this movie. And I was having a debate on here with Jess Page a couple of weeks ago. My mom actually made me watch this movie because I do movie reviews on the podcast, and I was just looking for new movies to watch. She was like, you ever watch this? And I was like, no, I like Matthew McConaughey. He's okay. So I sat down and watched it, and I couldn't enjoy it because it left me confused. Now, it was a good, I understand it was, she was writing a magazine article, and he was just trying to get higher up in his, wherever he worked. But my confusion was the two females that worked for him set him up at the end and made, you know what I mean, and made her break up with it, which I didn't understand because they were going to get the raise as well. And they never explained it. That's where I was kind of like, I can't enjoy it because they left a big blog there. I'm confused. I don't understand what's happening or why they did it.
Okay. So you're saying because you didn't realize that they were going to get the raise if he didn't? Or like they were going to get the job if he didn't?
No. Okay. What I got from it was the girls that, did the thing at the end. I don't want to spoil it.
Right.
They were on Matthew McConaughey's team. They were going to go with him to the bigger building, the bigger pay raise and everything. Why did they just go and spoil it for themselves just to see him burn? Because they never explained that. That's my whole, I'm confused about.
Right.
I'm probably confusing you just.
No. I think I see what you're saying. I think they didn't expect her to answer the way she did. The main character. This is so vague. I don't think they expected.
Kate Hudson.
Yes, I don't think they expected Kate to answer the way she did. And then I think they thought that it would blow up in their favor, but it didn't. So, well, it did for a second, and then it didn't.
Okay. Favorite book you've ever read or currently reading?
Ooh, I just read this book by Agatha Christie, and then There Were None, and it was really good. It's hard for me to pick favorites of all the time, but that was a really good one. It was like a murder mystery.
What is either a late night snack or just something that you have to indulge in? You can't just have, you got to have more than one of.
Oh, cookies. My roommate can attest. I've been eating cookies like, I feel like quarantine's made me the cookie monster. I've been having them like every night almost. And when I don't have them, I get like a toddler and get cranky. I'm like, but I want my cookies. and I have like at least 3 of them. It's bad.
What is your favorite album? Well, I'm not going to say favorite album of all time. What would be the last album you would want to hear before you died? You're laying on your deathbed. They say you have time to listen to one album. Your family can't visit, but you can listen to one album. No longer, or it doesn't matter the duration of the album. What would it be?
Wow, that's a hard one. That's because that's a weird time if I knew I was dying. I guess I would probably be between, these are so different. I would be between Casey Musgrave's Golden Hour and Hillary Scott's her solo project with her family, her Christian album. Because I feel like if I was on my deathbed, I would probably be like listening to more of that stuff.
Mine would, obviously everyone listening knows, mine would be Continuum from John Mayer.
Ooh, that is a great album.
To me, I remember hearing John Mayer for the first time. And my cousin we're like 4 years apart. So she was listening to this more mature music. And I remember hearing Your Body is a Wonderland and just be like, what? I don't know what that means, but I like the beat to it. And I knew who John Mayer was from that. And then around middle school, maybe a little bit after high school, maybe a little bit 9th grade, something like that, I really got into John Mayer, and I was just like, okay, this is the best music I've ever heard in my life. Besides Aerosmith, it's just like, wow, that's it.
He is talented. I actually love this. So in high school, my very first boyfriend, for Christmas, I got him John Mayer tickets, and he got me the gift of being his girlfriend, which I thought I already was. He like asked, like his gift was asking me to be his girlfriend, and I was like, first of all, that's not a gift. And also, I got you John Mayer tickets. I was like, what? And we ended up breaking up like a week after the John Mayer concert, and I was like, I think he held out until this. Not bitter.
I have yet to see John Mayer, just because no one comes to the South, like, unless you're country music, you know what I mean? Like, no one really comes. And so, like, I remember when I'm a big stand-up comedian fan, and I remember when Kevin Hart came, he come to the Coliseum up here. I was like, I'm gonna go. 30 seconds after they went on sale, they sold out. 30 seconds, and I was like, oh my god, like, that's really the only big person like that's ever came here, I think, besides, right, because they're not country,
right.
So, like, unless I want to travel to California, I'm not gonna see John Mayer anytime soon.
Right. No, same probably right now, but
couple more here. What is the biggest lesson that you've ever learned, either personally or business?
That's a good question. I guess I've learned, and I have to continue learning, but to let go of control of and just to trust. And for me, like I am a believer and like I have to have faith that like someone else is in control and that someone is not me. So I think that's constantly something that professionally and personally I struggle with. But I've learned that when I do have like open hands and just let go of something, then I mean, 10 out of 10 times like works out better than me trying to force a situation. So,
Yeah, I just recently, for me, I just recently started DDP yoga, which it's a form of yoga which is done by the professional wrestler DDP Diamond Dallas Page, and I did it because I just wanted to feel better about myself. I'm a overweight guy. I'm just like, I'm tired of it. I'm gonna get in shape, so I'm gonna do it my way. And he taught me one of the biggest lessons, and that was the past couple weeks ago, and it was you can or you can't. Whatever you say, that's gonna happen. I'm
ooh,
just saying, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna use that in my everyday life. I can or I can't. Both are true, and I'm just like, wow. You know,
yeah.
it's I don't know. It's just this. What have you been doing in quarantine besides eating cookies?
I mean, that's taken up like 75% of the time. But
I
um,
bet.
I've been cooking and baking a lot, actually. It's been that part I've actually enjoyed. I think I've always loved, well, in the past few years, I've really gotten to enjoy cooking and like actually like recipes, not just like something from a box necessarily. And so it's been nice to have the time to be able to do that more frequently. Um, I've also just gotten a lot done around the house that I just didn't have time for before. I moved into a new house, well, new to me. It's like a 1940s home um, in December. And so not everything, it was like mostly moved in, but still, I don't know, like there were still shelves that need to be hung and still like
Sure.
need to get furniture for some rooms and stuff. And so this has kind of given me the time to do that. And like I got patio furniture and painted it and waxed it and like got that taken care of. And I've been like even a little bit gardening. I wouldn't even call it that. I kind of kill like my grandfather would make his own variations of roses and I had the blackest thumb. Like I kill like succulents, air plants that just need air to breathe. So I'm like, I mean, did I breathe my carbon dioxide? I don't know. But I don't know. My room in particular, I'm like very excited. It's like finally feeling like the homey aspects. So I don't know. I think I've just been doing like kind of home projects that you just find excuses not to do before, and now there's no excuses left.
Well, Emily, appreciate you doing this. You can get her new single "X on the Beach," which is available everywhere right now. You can go follow her at Emily Daniels Official over on Instagram. You can go follow me if you want to at I am Mr. Dylan Hodge on Instagram. Appreciate you doing this, Emily. Really
Thank
do.
you.
And
Thanks for having
I hope the hour didn't seem like an hour because I've had some that do
me.
that a
No,
lot.
no. And I had my wine. This was a great like happy hour.
Well, again, thanks for doing it. And once it goes up, I will let you know, and I'll tag you in all the Instagram, and I'll send it over to your people. I think
Perfect.
it was Shayna that messaged me, whoever it was.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
All right. Thanks for doing it. And once again, have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Have a good night.
Bye.